Here, DDD University. I am hopping on live to serve the speakers, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the coaches that want to turn their stage fright into dynamite and speak with more impact, whether that be on stage, on camera, online, to make your message truly change lives, that of your audience and that of your own. And the way I do that is through the impact community that I am growing until the end of this month. Oh, let me see. I am getting feedback. All right. I think it's better this way. Um, until the end of May, there is free entrance in the impact community. You can stay at the entry level for free if you enter the impact community until before the end of May. It's my birthday month, so I'm celebrating, and the more the merrier. So, in this live, I am going to answer questions of the attendees that have sent some in. They DM'd me some of the questions. I've picked a few, and then the others I've sent a voice note. So let me get the questions right here. And I'm also noticing that I'm not on Instagram. So let me hop on there as well. Let me get that down. Hop on live. All right. And let's wait for the people on the gram to join us as well. Hey, Leona Filippo, DDD University here. I am answering the questions of the attendees from the Impact Challenge. They sent me some questions. We're doing a 7-day Impact Challenge that you can join when you go to the impactcommunity.com. It's impact/community.com. And then you can join in there. The more the merrier. Um, it's free until the end of May because it's my birthday month, and that's so the more the merrier. You're more than welcome. Let's get the first question in, and I will share it on screen. If you are on YouTube, you can see the questions. You can comment as well. I will see your comments here as well. Um, let me see. And on Facebook, of course, just type in your questions and I will answer them. Let me get this. All right. Marta, the first question is yours. Marta, you say, Leona, I keep second guessing my why. How do I know if it's really my truth or just what I think I should say to sound impactful? First of all, Marta, yeah, with a T, not TH, Marta. Um, I love this question. Uh, it tells me that you are very intent on speaking authentically, and that you're focusing not on what you feel people need to hear, but what it is that you need to share to be most impactful. And I love that integrity in your intent. So you keep second guessing your why. I have a method in how you can find what is most true to you, and of course, you're going to, because you know a lot of things, so a lot of things are going to be important to you. As you know, in the impact community, we also, um, integrate mindset and spirituality and, the conscious and subconscious mind. Now, what I know of the subconscious mind is that it speaks, um, in vibration, so in feeling, but feelings sometimes, especially in the world today, are can be very misleading. Everything is tugging at you, the internet, the TVs, the movies, the magazines, is tugging at your literally at your heartstring, right? So, how are you going to know when a feeling is true? And that's what you're saying is like, okay, I keep second guessing, which means you're kind of in your head, which means it's a conscious thing. You're thinking it's either A or B, something might be good or bad, right? That's the conscious mind. So that's very black and white, A and B, good and bad, big and small, da, da, da. And the conscious mind is loudest, but is least intelligent. Not saying that you're not intelligent, Marta. I'm saying that our conscious mind is um, trying to keep us safe, trying to do the right thing, trying to look a certain way, trying to fit in, all of that, right? The mind that we have that is of oldest age, that is the wisest and all-knowing, guess it, is the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between real or imagined, good or bad, doesn't have an opinion. Um, it doesn't reject. It basically only can accept. So what this tells you is that the subconscious mind is, a 1 point, right? It's not 2, it's just how it is. Now, if you want to know if something is true for you, the you should be speaking to is the one that the voice that comes from the subconscious. Now, we all know that inner voice that usually whispers, never really beats you upside the head, that's usually the ego. It says, "No, stop, do this, do that." The subconscious is a very calm breeze. It's a foundation. It's a whisper. And when you listen to that, those whispers, they're going to tell you when you're doing something that fits you, that, um, is in line with your purpose. It's not busy with anyone around you and what they feel you should be saying, or if something is in the market or not, or if your message is going to be highly converting or not, right? The subconscious is going to speak from your soul, speak from your heart. Now, how do we get in contact with this subconscious? And the easiest way is, I'm not a religious person. I am, spiritual. I believe in the all. Um, but spiritual people would say pray. I would go inward and focus on my breath, calm down, calm your thoughts, just be still and breathe. Focus on your breath. All of a sudden, you're going to get in a type of um, extra calm awareness, basically. And within that awareness, when you ask yourself about your message, of course, I don't know what your topic or your message is that you're talking about, but when you ask yourself about your message and what you should be doing, the first thing that comes up, the first thing, That's the subconscious speaking to you. The second thing, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, that's going to be the conscious, right? Is that really true? Did I really hear that? I really didn't think I was gonna say that. What was I am I did I hear that correctly? All of that is again the good and bad and right and wrong and, smart and not so effective and blah, 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 blah. The first thing that comes to mind when you talk about when you're second guessing your why, as you say, that's the conscious. The knowing and the isness, the truth. How do I know if it's really my truth? The subconscious is going to tell you that, and it's going to give you a feeling, and it's probably going to be a feeling that you say, "Oh, I knew it," and indeed you did. Indeed you did. It was under all of that static. Underneath is the calm, is the warmth, is the expansion. Because all of a sudden, once you get that answer, all these ideas, I could do this and I could say that, and oh my god, and all of a sudden, that's what people sometimes call a download. Other people might call it the voice of God. Other people might right? It's you're going to expand and you're going to feel as if you're home in that answer. And then you're probably going to start second guessing like we all do, right? Because that's when we start waking up and we start thinking, but at least you've gotten a glimpse in the now of your future higher self, right? You could tell I'm getting excited for you. So, Marta, I hope that, and I love just the fact that you said, um, not that you don't want to sound impactful. Uh, In my opinion, you can't sound impactful, you are or you aren't. So I love the fact that you already know the difference between those 2. So let me know in the comments or DM me or in the community, the impact community, if this served you the way I hope and want to serve you. Um And I will hop on to the next question. Let me get the next question out. That is right here. Second question, Willard. I love it. Put this in so everyone can see. Hey, did you see that? That wasn't me. I've got it wasn't me. Probably just the electricity. I love it. I love stuff like that. Okay, Willard, your question. Your question is, can I have more than one core message depending on the audience, or should I always stick to one point? Okay, so let me explain to the people who haven't done the Impact Challenge yet. The Impact 7-Day Challenge, in day 2, which is what we're talking about today, I go deep on the foundation, basically, of creating your message. Um, the foundation, I've created it into it. I don't know if you know who here knows, put in the chat, in the comment, if you know the symbol of the flower of life, the tree of life? No, the flower of life. So it's this circle with all these different circles in it. What I've done is I've made a triad, so it's like the little the triangle, and the triangle consists of 3 pillars, which are also triangles, etcetera, etcetera. So once I'm done with you, it's all based on sacred geometry and, the geometry that's in nature and all of this, because I feel that life speaks and communicates with us, the planet speaks and communicates with us, and we are part of that, so Why don't we speak and communicate based on the laws of, right, uh, communication, universal communication? So I've created all these models, um, and this model that we're talking about in day 2 is the foundation. So pillar number 1, you're going to have to enter the challenge if you wanna know all about the foundation. But Willard here is talking about the point, which is basically step 1 is what's your point in your talk, right? If you want to communicate with someone, first, you gotta have clear what is your point. And so Willard is asking, can I have more than one core message, or should I stick to one point? Now, with Marta, I talked about the inner and the personal why, right? That was a 1 point why. With Willard, you're talking about a message that goes out, so it's an external. Yes, it's an internal opinion, a personal, individual opinion, but your message could be a million different ways of saying that one, right? That one point, that one, um, truism for you. So, Willard, to you, I would say, for now, it's important to just choose one so that you can learn the steps that I'm going to teach you, um, on one message. But within your career, your speaking career, um, you can talk, of course, about whatever you wanna talk about. If and I tend to, uh resonate with people that want to uplift their audience and teach and enlighten their audience, but you can talk about whatever you want. What I teach is to have, like, one core belief, stance, a point, which is basically an umbrella for all these different, um daughter topics or son topics, right? So, if you look in, the Q&A last week, I talked about a lighthouse, right? The sea around you is ebbing and flowing and all this, but the foundation and the pillar stands firm. What is shown outward are beams of light, and you can chunk them up and chunk them down. You can say it's just one light, or you can say it's infinite light beams that all combined are one light, right? It's how do you wanna zoom in and how do you wanna zoom out? So let's say, for instance, your core message in your career is health. But space fires you up. You love the science of black holes, just to, just for instance. Is it then so that you can't talk about black holes because your career is about health? This is where I step in and get all excited because for me, the creativity now would be, how can I bridge the 2? Talk about health based on the science of black holes. Now, that's interesting, and probably not many people do that, so it's also going to set you apart in your career. There are ways and tactics and techniques to do this, and I teach that in my impact program. Impact is, inspiring and motivating through powerful, authentic, and captivating talks. Impact. So that's the 6-month, training, and if you want to go extra, extra deep, we can make it 12 months. So that's like a year's program, and I teach you, like, the ins and the outs, and we let it, like, really set into, the body and the mind and the spirit to be able to become an impact speaker, basically. Um, but we also have shorter, uh, um, programs and trainings, of course, in which you can learn how to, because there's techniques to do this, and I get very excited getting, because it's a creative process, and I love that. Singer, actress, performer, so yeah, the creative process is right up my alley. So just to show you, um, that you could talk about, if you wanna talk about Lionel Messi, for instance, and his goals that he makes. You can talk about how he stays healthy, or how the mind needs to be healthy and in order to train and be able to be focused to hit those goals every time. There's so many ways you can link back to your core topic, and that goes back to that lighthouse, is the lights swirl and swish and reach many people, but they all come from one source, unwavering. That pillar stands. Okay? So, answer to your question, no, you don't need one core message, but it, just in order for you not to go cuckoo, speaking each in different countries, on different stages, to different audiences, and wanting to speak about all these different topics, it's, for you, it's also most clear to have one umbrella, um, encapsulating stance, and all the other things that you find interesting, you could link to your core message, basically. It's a choice. That's basically what we also learn in, media training, as when we're interviewed, if we're promoting a movie or a production that we're doing, we speak to a lot of interviews, and so not to have to go, and not to completely freak out because you don't know what they're going to ask you, and what am I gonna say, and blah, 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 blah. We learn to have 3 to 5 answers max ready to go, and so then it doesn't matter, because you're going to speak to experienced interviewers, you're going to speak to not so experienced interviewers, you're going to speak to interviewers who love and adore what you do, and you're gonna have to speak to some people that really don't agree or aren't very impressed by your, uh, abilities. Um, and you're going to have interviewers that don't know who they're talking to, haven't read up on you, or blah, blah, blah. So these questions they ask you, and you as a speaker, you need to be able to know what it is you're going to give the audience. It could be a live audience. I mean, look at the Met Gala, or the Oscars, or these people on the red carpet, and they have these flash short interviews they need to do. They're not going to wing it, because the whole world is watching. They have 3 billion people watching. Usually, you're taught to know 3 to 5 things you're going to say. Now, um, one core message, I mean, if you look at Brad Pitt as an actor, if he would have to play 5 roles in the same movie, it can be done. There's movies like that. But, 5 different, completely different expressions in one story is usually not going to be very, it's not going to, people can't follow that too easily. So, I would, again, choose what is most important to you, and then you can also do the same thing as what I said to Martha, check your why, what lights you up, what fires you up, what's most effective also in the market, what can you speak about, and all the interests you have besides that, you can link to it, and there are ways, very creative and fun ways, and, uh, yeah, informative, intriguing ways to do so. Alright? So, I hope I answered that clearly for you. If you have any more questions on that, you know where to find me. Let's hop on to the next question. This is from Bianca. Bianca says, "Leona, I struggle with pillar 2. What if I haven't fully dismantled the limiting belief myself yet? Can I still speak on it?" Very beautiful, Bianca. To give the listeners and watchers some context, pillar 2, the foundation that I just explained to you, that I teach in day 2 of the Impact Challenge consists of 3 pillars. So it's a triad, and it consists of 3 pillars. Pillar 2 is an offset of pillar 1. Pillar 2 is where we as a speaker show and, um, comfort basically the audience with the fact that we understand their point of view. We know their point of view because we've been in their shoes, or we know people that think that way, or right? We recognize, how they look at the point that we just made. Um, what Bianca is asking me is if I if I still am in the position of where the audience is, can I then still talk about my point? Because I haven't offset it yet, right? If I make a point, my point is I feel we should stop, um, killing the whale. Now, I think a lot of people would feel that way, but let's just for an instance, right? Um, there's a moment in the story where you're going to say to the audience, "I know how you feel. I know what you think because I used to be there too," right? Um, but Bianca is saying, "What if I'm still there? What if I haven't really changed my previous point of view?" And what I wanna say to you, Bianca, is have you ever been to a concert to your favorite artist and they got off stage and came into the audience? Usually, that is a moment and I get giddy because it feels really good. Um, that's a moment where the audience goes mad, goes crazy. They love it when the person they're looking at gets into the space that they are. Now all of a sudden, you're not the speaker on stage. Now you've entered their space and became one of the audience. So my answer to you, Bianca, is can you still speak on it? Yes, you can, because now all of a sudden, you haven't become that finger wagger on stage saying, "This is how it should be, and I know exactly how you felt, but what you don't understand is it's actually this way." That's a certain type of speaker, and it works. We see a lot of that in politics. Um, I'm not into politics, but those are that's a certain way of persuasive speech. Your speech, if you say haven't really dismantled the limiting belief yet, your speech could now transform into a more inspired type of speech, where you don't say this and this and this and this and this. It's how I see it. I used to see it this way, but now I do. Now your speech could be more of a what if, and wouldn't it be awesome, and how about, and I wonder how you think. Don't you agree? All of that right now you're in the spot of the audience, so you haven't made the full conclusion yet, and for a certain type of audience, that is even more comfortable than someone who is completely convinced of a different opinion, right? So don't think that you can't speak. Everyone can speak on whatever they wanna speak on, as long, in my opinion, as it's uplifting, enlightening, entertaining, right? Um, I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't speak on. I want to give you the belief in yourself that wherever you are in your journey, you're always going to see things through your eyes, which is already going to be intriguing and interesting for others. All right? So as long as you stick to your authentic view and you follow what you're going to be learning in the impact challenge to make it stick and to make it move and dance and intrigue and magnetize, you're gonna be good. You're awesome, okay? So, Bianca, I hope I, um, answered that to your content, to your liking, and I hope I served you that way. If you have more questions, hit me up in the impact community. If you have questions, you can put them in the comments for the people watching live. Let me double check and see if I'm not missing anything. All right. Okay, I'm seeing everything as should. Let's go on to question number 4. And my question to the people live watching, have you ever had questions about, not being sure about what to talk about or how to talk about it? Um, as you can hear, it's very common. The best speakers still wonder about if their way of conveying their message is most effective. That's how we know that we care about quality of the communication that we have. So please don't see that as a sign of amateurism or whatever. When you stop asking yourself those questions, that's when you need to scratch down your head and say, "Oh, am I still on the right track?" Okay, let me see, whose question was this? Brian. Brian is up next. Brian asks me, "Do you have any tips for turning a life story into one clear takeaway? I always feel like I ramble." Okay, Brian with a Y, beautiful. Um, do I have any tips for turning a life story into one clear takeaway? Yes, I do. It depends on if you already have the story or if it's still um, a plethora of different experiences, right? If you have the story and you're just wondering how to turn it into one clear takeaway, then I would, um, it's called chunking. I would chunk it up and chunk it down. If you don't know what chunking is basically where you zoom in and zoom out um, on a certain concept. So let's say, um, let's take a bicycle, basically. If I would chunk that up, that would mean I would zoom out and make it more general or make it more abstract. So a bike could be something of transportation, an instrument of transportation. That would be chunking it up. Transportation then would, if I chunk that up, would be a certain um, movement or travel that we have on this planet, right? If I would say, what is a different form of travel, then I would say you could fly or you could go by train or you could go by car or you could walk. That those are all different types of travel. Um, if I would chunk that up and say motion or movement, then what are different forms of movement? Um, give give some uh, examples. What are different forms of movement? You could jump, you could fall, you could fly, you could run, you could dance, you could, right? Those are all different forms of movement. But we started by a bike. If we chunked a bike down, then we could say uh, a bike is a vehicle with wheels, or we could even say a bike has a saddle and has pedals and right? So you can make it more specific. Um, if we go back to your story, let's say you have one life story and you know how it moves and what it looks like, but you're trying to make one clear takeaway, then I would chunk it up by making it more general and saying, okay, what does this mean? What is the purpose of this story? Right? Once you have that answer, you can chunk it up again. What does that mean? What is the purpose of this concept? And then that answer could be your one takeaway. Of course, I don't know your life story, so I can't just help you now with what is the clear takeaway. You can chunk up, but you can also chunk down and make it more specific. So you can zoom in on a type of experience within your life and make that more specific and ask about that. What does this mean? What did it mean to me? Why was that important to me? Right? Um, that could be a clear takeaway. You could also um, make it specific and look for the specific thing that you feel most drawn to that other people should take away from that experience you had within your life story. So that is if you have your life story already clear. If you're still in the process of creating your life story, as we all are, because tomorrow's a new day, but writing it down and crafting a true life story from your experiences, and you still have all these different fragments, your childhood and your adolescence and your job and your partner and your kids that you have in your right? And you're still trying to make a story out of that, Um, then how could you create a clear takeaway from that? Then I believe you would start with the why again. Just take all the parts that you feel are important to you and ask yourself, why? Why is this important? What did I learn from this? And just gather that, and then you start erasing. Because yeah, life stories, you could write it in a book and make a biography, but usually people want the fast, you know, give it to me straight. All right? So, I do actually have um a course on that. It's, Find the Message in the Mess. I'm not calling your life a mess. Ryan, I'm not. But it does go through this with you step by step. There's 5 steps. And indeed, it's the chunking and, asking the why, so giving it a purpose, finding the purpose. Um, it's very powerful, and it's actually very easy. So if you want the, information on that, um, it's I don't have the link right here. So shoot me a DM and I will get that to you. It's called Find the Message in the Mess. It's really it's you can have it done within an hour, not even. And there's just 5 concise steps you can take. So I loved making that one. I loved making that one, and it's very powerful. All right, so I hope that served you. Did I get everything on that? Yes, I did. And we're already down to the last question. Let me know in the comments if this is of service to you, and if you are learning anything or if you have any questions. Um, I'd really love to know your takeaways, your thoughts and feelings. Let me put the last question in here. Who's the last one? Carolina or Carolina. I hope I'm gonna call you Carolina. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I have a good friend. Her name's Carolina. All right. Carolina asks, what's the difference between sharing a unique perspective in pillar 3 and oversharing or making it about me? Carolina, I love it. I love this question. Ooh, this is a good one because and I just love also this attests to your integrity and wanting to be authentic and respectful of other people's attention. Because oh, there are so many speakers that don't have that um, as a priority. Um, they rather have attention instead of connection. And what I teach in the impact community and as impact speakers is we don't stop at attention. And then when you go online or social media or whatever, there's so many people like grabbing, trying to get your attention. That's the most valuable things an individual has. So we don't stop there. We alchemize it basically into connection. And this is what I'm hearing you. So you're resonating with my yeah values. Um, you're very helpful on serving your audience instead of just me. I. Yeah. Um, so how do you know the difference? What's the difference between sharing a unique and talking too much about you. There are ways to do this, and the most encapsulating, uh, answer for me to give you is we check in. We check in. You're on stage. You have been given the privilege and the space and the attention, which we need to alchemize into connection, to stand on a stage and take people's time, and we give them something of in return. So we are leaders at that moment. We are leaders. Thoughts, thoughts. We gather the thought and we uplift them, we empower them, we enlighten them, the thoughts, and we do not anchor them with what I and me and yesterday and I and blah, 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 right? That having been said, the information we give, let's say you're walking on Times Square, and someone tells you around the corner, be careful because there's, there's construction and you might fall into the hole, so be careful, right? If someone tells you that, of course you wanna be safe, so usually you're automatically going to listen. But would you if someone tells you, "Be careful around the corner," I heard someone say this and this and this, or if someone would say, "I have sprained my ankle just around the corner, so I just wanted to tell you this, this, and this, and this, be careful," right? Who is the first person you're going to who grabs you first, right? Or if someone says, "I got no, this is the best example I could give you. Someone gives you information. There are two questions. Most sales courses and gurus will teach you only one of the questions your audience asks. They teach you to speak to the "What's in it for me?" question that your audience asks you, and it's a very important question to answer, because, of course, you're being respectful of their attention and their time, but also the question, which is equally important, that any audience, consciously or subconsciously, asks you or themselves is, "How do you know?" Right? And most people that don't convert, will start yapping up their CV. "I did this, and I did that, and I was taught by so and so, and I heard it. I," right? But when you can say, "I lived it, this is I went through this is what I've experienced, and I wanna give this to you," right? How do you know? The answer then becomes because it's part of my life, and it's valuable to me, or I don't want that food, or right? So both are I, but one is the ego, um, way of communication, ego-based. Me, 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 I, or the service-based communication. You. No, I'm joking. I'm just teasing, right? But, and the only way you can know when your information is landing, the you, right, is when you check behind yourself. You're the leader and people are following you. You check behind and see, are they still there? Are you guys okay back there? Do you follow, right? Um, when you're standing in front of an audience, it would be, do you recognize this? Anybody got a question? Blah, 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 blah. Now, The checking in, there's also multiple ways to do that. There are constructive ways and destructive ways of checking in. Um, there are magnetizing ways and inviting ways to check in, and there are off-putting, right? You want to close the gap, you want to maintain the connection instead of scare them off and create a divide between you and the audience. So again, there are ways of checking in to see if the information is landing. Just the mere checking in is already a sign of service-based communication. There are ways to optimize the way your information is being received, and that's also definitely some of that is coming in the Impact Challenge, so you're A-okay, Carolina, you're in the right spot. Um, and there are also in the Stage Fright to Dynamite, which is a 30-day challenge that you can go through, 21 days of action taking and 7 days of the community asking questions and doing things together. Really, really awesome Stage Fright to Dynamite. That's where I call them the story spices. That's how we're also going to dive into how do we maintain the connection between you and the audience. So again, impact speakers, we don't stop at attention. That's surface level, that's the shell. Impact speakers, we speak on connection. We create connection. The same way as I'm not going to, do whatever I can just to get your attention and then do nothing with it. I find that disrespectful personally. Um, but at the same time, for instance, my biological mother, I don't have her attention at this moment, but I definitely am connected with her. Why? Because she has given me she's given me experiences, things, she has given me great emotions and all of this, right? So if we are a speaker that speaks on connection, that is how we're going to serve our audience even when we're not there, even when we don't have their attention, right? So I love this, Carolina, um, that you're very intent on being authentic and true about your information and your message, and not to make it too much about you, but keep it um, keep the importance in the audience. So I hope this has um, answered your question and served you the way I intended to. Let me see. Ooh, gosh, it's almost an hour. All right. Well, I just love to give, and I love talking about this and helping you guys get your message out in the world the way you feel your message deserves to, because I know it does. I know you have something to give, and you have a purpose and a mission to fulfill. And if I can help you do that, it's my uh, so um, if you want to be attendee of the Impact Challenge, then you can go to impact-community.com. That's where we're having the challenge, impact-community.com. Until the end of May, it's free entry on the free entrance on the entry level. So it's my birthday month. I'm celebrating. The more the merrier. Come on in and enjoy the fun. I will see you next week when I have the Q&A for Impact Day 3. All right. Have a great day. Big love. Talk to you soon.